All right. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Luna, and hello, Juan. Good to see both of you. Purified. Hey, good to see ya. Mugs up, everyone. Let's get this weekend closed out correctly with some fun, shall we? Juan, straight out of the gate with a question, wants to know how long does it take to enter a trance? Actually, that differs from person to person and level of experience. There are people with plenty of experience who can enter into a trance really quickly. And then there's those who it will take them different variables, times in meditation to get relaxed in order to drift slowly into a trance like state. Um, and it's really hard to give an average, but I mean, starting out, if I had to just give a rough average, I'd say you're looking at probably um, anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes of meditation to drift into a trance state straight out of the gate as a beginner, generally. And that is very general because everyone's going to have a different capacity for those particular things. Oh, wow, Luna, thank you very much for the super chat. Definitely appreciate it. And everybody, yes, we do have a super chat if you want to just donate to the work we do and getting this information out to all the seekers. Or if you have a very important question and I'm missing it, you can super chat it and it'll flash it up real big there and I can get to it. But hopefully that helps you out a little there, Juan. Your hair's looking longer. It looks really cool. Thank you. It has been really, really humid and my curls are showing. My wife is loving it because the curls are showing. It's usually brushed back and the curls are tamed a bit better. But yeah, it's getting long. I'm probably going to let it keep growing. Thank you. I do appreciate that though, because I believe it or not, my curls are one of the things I get a little iffy about. I always look at them and I feel like my hair looks like a wreck. I know people say that's a good look, but it's one of those things. So I appreciate the compliment, Juan. Thank you much. Yeah, welcome. Good to see you. Bernaldez, good to see you. Is there ways you recommend to expand upon mediumship? Um, See, that's actually an interesting question because mediumship, anytime you're doing medium work, it's a very, very light form of invocation. And many of you know I get a little wonky when it comes to invocation. I don't invoke anything unless I trust it, and therefore I don't do traditional medium work either. I prefer to do scrying or even talk with the entity in my astral sanctum. That said, I think it's in the meditation course. It might also be in the arcane sight course. There's a purple candle meditation that one of my teachers taught me years ago that helps with the third eye. It can also help with your other arcane senses and receiving information that can help with your medium work. Me personally, when it comes to medium work, if I'm not doing it in my sanctum, I love to do it via trance work. I just find it's a lot more free flowing and easier to get that connection. So, I mean, but that's just my 2 cents on it. Again, I'm not a big proponent of just randomly doing medium work or invocation because anytime you let that energy in, it's going to affect you. And I've seen people who channel things a lot, and I've seen how it affects their lives. And I've seen those very same people say, it's not dangerous, there's nothing wrong, and their whole life is burning around. It's like they're sitting in a room that's on fire, and it's like, okay, well, if you're happy sitting there, sit there, but that's my 2 cents. I'm sure there's somebody out there. I mean, if you do all your grounding, your cleansing, and everything, and you're spacing it out, it can work just fine. Ironically, I don't run across those people too much, but I would recommend trance work or an astral sanctum for those types of communications a little bit there. Let's see if that helps you out a little bit. And of course, like I said, you could check out the Arcane Senses video. Anytime you develop your arcane senses, any form of entity communication is going to enhance all around. So perhaps that's the easiest one to go with. Nubas, good to see you. Kate Davis, this is my first live session as I'm thinking about starting Dragon Magic. Hey, that's Katie. Hey, Katie, welcome. And if you do decide to start Dragon Magic, I think you'll find it quite fun and quite rewarding. We do have a Discord channel. I don't know if you've joined it yet. A lot of the students over there have a lot of fun. They share information. We actually have an entire section set aside for members of the school. Which actually, if you haven't, check out workingdragonmystic.com. That's where the online school and courses can be found. There's a massive Dragon Magic 101 class there, very affordable at $30, I think, which is on par with most occult books you'll find, actually cheaper. But if you do decide, it would be a great way to get started. We also have the Dragon Magic playlist to give you a peek into some of the fun and some of the entities you'll be working with. I've found it very rewarding, and many of the students, actually all my students, have found it rewarding. I'm still waiting for that one that's like, this sucks. I haven't had that student yet. I'm sure somewhere in my lifetime I'm probably going to run across them, hopefully. Hopefully not, but we'll see. I know, I'm pretty sure curly hair is meant to look messy. Well, I don't like my curls. It's that simple. I want straight hair. I ain't got it, though. We need better coffee emotes. We do. We do. I'm actually looking at potentially posting on the Discord and maybe here on we'll do it in the Discord to see if some viewers and members of the Discord can design some emojis. And the ones who design the better emojis will get those added first and try and increase the emojis that are available to the members of the channel. Because I love showcasing your all's creativity and artwork when we can, which actually reminds me, I've been emailed and messaged a few times to ask if we're going to do Halloween and Yule art contest this year. And I'm thinking about it. I don't know if we'll do a coffee cup, but I would like to do an art contest with some kind of reward. And we would definitely, I still do want to put it in the shop because so many people did enjoy being able to pick up the coffee cups and stuff. But many people said they didn't want a coffee cup. They was wondering if we could put it on something else. So I'm thinking about what else we could do other than the coffee cups. But I am definitely considering doing a Samhain and a Yule art contest again this year. So stay tuned for the particular theme. We'll come up with something good. Jay, glad you can make it. Believe it or not, I actually do have ADHD. My brain's going 50 different directions at one time usually. It drives my wife crazy because I'll just suddenly be on a random topic. But with time and practice, it does get far easier, far easier. But it does take practice. That kind of comes in with that whole self-mastery and discipline thing. Yeah, some of us have a harder time getting that mastery and discipline, but in the long run, we can do it. Nubas, hello admins. I'm surprised Drake has 2 views on his channel so far. That seems like a lot of numbers to me, Anubis. I'm a little surprised by that myself. Actually, every time this channel hits a milestone, I'm kind of left speechless. It amazes me. It really does. But it's amazing that you guys make it worth it. Let's keep it short on that one. Focus can be a hard one for most people, Chicken Noodle. I mean, it's one of those things where it can be a really, really tricky one to build up. So there's so many things in our life now to draw our attention, and we have so much sensory input that when we don't have these large amounts of sensory input, it's really hard for our brains to focus. But that's also one of the best times to do magic is when you lower those sensory inputs and that's part of what the meditation and all that really helps with, is training those abilities to focus when you don't have those overloads. So it's actually a pretty good thing, but it's a hard one. It really is. I know a lot of my students, especially the younger they get, I'm noticing it's harder and harder for them to bypass that. And meditation seems to be where the big focus is. I get them focused really good on meditation and calming themselves and building that focus up first. And that's really when they start gaining that traction. But there is definitely a generational gap where focus is lowering. And I don't think it's anything more than there's just so much more noise and just videos and lights and everything in the world that we normally are taking in a lot more and processing more information at once, that when we sit down to calm ourselves, we don't know what to do with it. It's kind of like if you're used to noise and you sit in a quiet room, it kind of gets weird. Kind of the same thing. But that's just a working theory, but getting them to focus on meditation does seem to help quite a bit. So if you are having trouble with your focus, with or without ADHD, work on your meditation skills. Candles instead of mugs. I can give that one a try, Katie. I don't know if I can do candles, though. I will check. Let me check the merch store, see what my options are. That's not a bad idea. I will check it out for sure. Hey, Peachy. Good to see you. Glad you can make it. Well, generally speaking, anime is not true to form no matter what. I've honestly not really come across an anime that I can say, yeah, that's accurate. So, yeah, that's one reason I don't talk about television too much. I know, which is kind of weird. When me and Linda first started this, she was trying to compare and contrast pop culture with reality. But as many of you know, I don't watch a lot of TV, which y'all tend to jump my case for a lot. So without Linda, I'm not as good as comparing and contrasting the pop culture because I don't know the pop culture usually. Focus is simple but difficult skill to master. It is. It is. That's a very good way of putting it, Nubis. Focus is a very simple thing, but it is a very difficult thing to actually pick up and master. It really is. That's usually the simple things that are often the hardest ones to get a hold of. It's really nice to hear you talk about it. Thank you so much. Talk about what? The fact that I have ADHD? Yeah, I actually do. There are like 50 different things going through my mind. And it can be stresses about the day. I can be working on 3 or 4 different problems. Many of you know I do some tabletop role playing, so that's running through my head over here somewhere. I'm working on a new recipe for cooking over here. I'm wondering, oh, what am I going to do about this particular bill over here? My brain is just constantly going. And if you ever get in a conversation with me, those things are still running while we're talking. And if there's a lull and I think of something and it pops up and jumps to the front, I will just say the most random thing. We will be talking about gardening. And next thing you know, I'm over here talking about sushi. And no one knows how I got there. And be honest, I don't know how I got there. But we're here. So. But yeah, learning to focus was, whoo. My mentor had a time with me. He really did. Uber Pudas, hey, good to see you. Good point, Pudas. Everybody hit that like button, get the thumbs up. Help let the algorithm know you like the work we're doing, and they'll show it to more people looking for this information. That's just the way the internet works, that algorithm. You got to feed that algorithm with the thumbs ups. Purified, Drake, are you going to do something special for 10K subs? Yeah, I'm going to have to. That's a huge number. And I'll be honest, mate, that's one of those numbers I'm not sure I ever thought I'd see. But But when I log in and I realize we're over 8K already, and we're pushing through that 8K relatively quickly. Grant you, summer, we really slowed down, but that's because everybody got out. They went to the beach. They're doing their vacations. That's expected. But now we're also coming into the occult section of the year, aren't we? So it's going to get a little crazy. So that's probably going to pick back up. Yeah, I would definitely really like to do something special for 10K subs. I'll probably kick around a few ideas with some of the admin, maybe even the Discord server. Do some brainstorming, but I think as we get closer, if not very soon, actually, you guys will probably hear an announcement on what I'm wanting to do. I have been putting some thoughts into that, Purified, because that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So yeah, definitely. And of course, share the videos around, share the channel, tell people about it on your social media. Help us get to that 10K, because we will definitely be doing something special for that 10K. Animal Man, good to see you. Whoa, we jumped. Famous line. We jumped. Let's see, Luna, one thing to try is to sit for meditation, slow down the brain speed. Since mine races, is visualize a music metronome, slow down time. Yeah, actually, that is a really good one there, Luna. That's actually good advice. Halloween. Howdy. Sorry I'm late. No problem, Cher. No problem. At least you made it, right? Yeah, there's times people can slip into a trance when they're in a conversation. Katie. Celtic sleep music, that's pretty relaxing, so I can understand that. Everyone's just kind of got to find their thing. I mean, eventually you can get to where you can start to utilize almost anything for meditation. But definitely starting out, you almost got to find your particular rhythm. Drumming seems to be the most neutral, and that's why most people have the easiest time with drumming. I particularly love rain, storm, and nature noises. That was the ones that I got started with back in the day. But now you can blast any kind of music, and I can use it. Took a while. Yeah, shamanism is not specifically a religion, though you do have different traditions of it. But it also has a broader meaning. It is someone who works with the spirits themselves directly, nature spirits, animal spirits, ancestral spirits, and they work and also help their community through so doing. Um, I do have a shamanic training. I've tinkered with the idea of doing some videos or maybe a class on it on HN. At this point in time, it's not really high on the list for me to get done because I got so many other things. Do I particularly know someone teaching right now? Not at this time. The person I would recommend recently passed on. Very good person, wise. He had a few students. I don't know if any of them's teaching. I'd have to find out. Good to hear, Halloween. Glad you got those. Now, if we can just get your flight to work on time, we'll be all right, which will be good. Which y'all may notice, I am kind of solo. There's no daughter here who's supposed to be here picking on me. We had some airline issues. But that's okay. We're going to get this worked out. Drake, is it possible to not go to the dream realm when you sleep? Like when in trying to sleep, I just visualize my sanctum until I fall asleep, this being in my sanctum throughout the whole sleep. No, there's actually this weird barrier with that dream state. It's going to move you into that dream realm. So it'll essentially be reconstructing your sanctum within the dream realm. Um, but if you're wanting to do the work in your sanctum, you're not leaving your sanctum or anything, the difference would be negligible, actually. So um, it's actually been one of those weird barriers that I know magicians have researched for years, and no one's actually been able to hard identify why this is. The closest thing that many of them have gotten to is that the dream realm, it's one of the things that actually helps to facilitate the healing, the rest, and all the mental and spiritual processing that actual sleep does. Sleep is more than just sleep. It's actually how your body processes information. It's needed. It's actually a healing state. It's almost like a reboot. And the dream realm is very, very, very closely connected to that. That's why many theorize we can't actually sleep without actually being there. Because without it, you're not sleeping, and that can lead to horrible, horrible things. Look, I'm still waiting for Halloween visiting camp. Aren't we all? Yep, we're all willing her to get on her flight and get here safely tomorrow. Just will it with us, everybody. Just will it with us. She'll get here. We'll get her here. And we'll drag her on camera, and she'll probably make fun of me, but that's okay. It'll be fun. No, no, understand. I get that, the helping the community part. That's definitely why I love what I do, which I think it came up in the last stream. But I love to help people, and that's the reason. I don't care who you are. I mean, I'm going to do what I can to help you, even if you're an asshole to me. If you're in need of genuine help, I'll still help you. Is the sanctum the same as a meditative state? Sorta and no. Katie, if you check out the video called Arcane Sanctum, what an arcane sanctum or an astral sanctum, it's been referred to as both, is essentially where you enter into a meditative state and then you shift your consciousness over to this location where you essentially end up building your own private sanctum within the astral plane. You actually essentially end up creating your own demi plane that you can decorate however you want. Everyone has a different one. Some people just have a field. Some people have forests. Some people build houses. Mine's actually just a vast ocean with an island on it, and everything's built within that island or in the air around it. But it is a private sanctum that is safe and secure and under your total control within the astral realm that you can utilize for doing magic and ritual work. And honestly, for those people who have to low key practice, it's a great way to easily pop in there and get that done. If you haven't yet, Katie, pop over to, in the video list after stream and type in Astral Sanctum. Find that video. It's a great way to get your practice jump started. And since it utilizes your arcane senses to perceive your sanctum while you're working on it, it's also a fantastic way to train up your arcane senses when you're starting out. I actually have all my students set up a arcane sanctum or astral sanctum, whichever you want to refer to it as, because it works so many of the basic skill muscles that you're going to need to develop as a practitioner. It's just hands down one of the easiest and most productive activities. and you can use it for just leisure and fun, or you can use it for your magical workings, and it trains so many skills so quickly. It's just a super advantage. I would definitely recommend it with you starting out. Onichan, no, I currently do not have any advice for finding a teacher, honestly. Sorry about that, my man. Donnell, thank you. Thank you for the super chat there, Donnell. Thank you very much. I'll try and make a few calls this week, and see if anyone I know knows of anybody. That's about the best I can do for you, because I currently just don't. And a lot of the shamanic teachers, they keep to themselves so much. Hey, Jacob. Let's see. Lee Sanctum. Know if I'm in the astral plane or just using my imagination playing around to pretend. Leah, if you're in your astral sanctum and you're in a meditative state, you're going to transition naturally. The transition is going to be so seamless. Initially, it's going to feel like you're just playing around in your head, but eventually things are going to become tangible. The more and more your senses develop, they're going to become tangible. Like when you reach down and you brush a rock, you're going to feel that texture on it. So yeah, it will start out feeling as if you're just imagining it, but as you develop your arcane senses more and more, it becomes far more tangible and real as you interact with it. And that's honestly the best way to know. It does take time. But that is the best way to know. And I've heard some magicians say if you can get in a meditative state and imagine it, that you are there, you are there. And that's pretty accurate, because astral projection actually does not take a whole lot. It really doesn't. But as you interact with it and begin to manipulate things there, you're actually going to feel their texture. You're actually going to be able to get sensory input, which just an image in your mind won't have. I hope that makes some sense. Victoria Mansion. That's nice. Jacob asks, is it possible to soul travel through the multiverse? Well, that's literally what soul travel is, Jacob, is you are soul traveling through the different planes of the multiverse. So the answer is yes. However, not all planes can just be accessed by waltzing into them. Some of the planes have very, very, very specific ways you have to access them. And even if you can soul travel, if you don't know how to access them, you're not going to be able to get there. So you're going to have to learn how to access them. So it does take a lot of work. And soul travel is not easy. Soul travel and astral travel are not the same. Astral travel can only get so far through the multiverse. It can only access planes that are overlapped by the astral plane. And believe it or not, most of the multiverse is not overlapped by the astral plane, even though it appears to be infinite. This was a mind-boggling concept for me to wrap my head around early in my practice. But that is one of the things, and that's one of the things that we will be talking about. We are doing a soul travel course for the school. Again, this is one of the many, many things and projects that I've got to get off the table before I can look into other projects. There's so many projects and things I want to do for you all, and it's just I have to clear what's on the table before I can keep adding things. Otherwise, I'm just going to work myself into an early grave, and none of us want that, because then we don't have Magickal Coffee Hour, we don't have Research and Ramblings, we don't have weekly videos, all that crap. So, got to pace myself a little bit there. Dizzy, can we talk about cord cutting ceremonies? Are they important, useful, or a waste of time? Honestly, Dizzy, it would depend on how you utilize it. So when you're talking about a cord cutting ceremony, I'm assuming you're talking about cutting an energetic cord that may be attached to another person. Yes, they can have a lot of wonderful benefits. For the example, as long as there's a cord, there's an attachment, and whether it be energetic or emotional, there's an attachment there. And being able to cut that attachment is going to help you get away from that person and let go of that person and their drama and their crap so much easier. However, if you do a full cord cutting ceremony, you close off the gap, you put a bandage on it, you do the whole shebang, and then immediately the next day you go hang out with them, you've just reconnected your own cord. A cord cutting ceremony is useless if you're not actually cutting the person out of your life. Sorry, but not sorry. That's just the reality of it. Because the second the two of you, your energies connect again, that cord's going to reform. And in general, you need to avoid that person for 6 months to a year before you don't run the risk of that cord just instantly regenerating. Instantly. And that sucks. That's very, very difficult. And in some cases, that means there's cords you can't cut. For example, that a-hole at work, the odds of you being able to actually avoid this a-hole at work for 6 months, not good. But at the same time, you can also master your energy enough that you can actually work with the cord, not cut it, but you can actually close the energy off itself and master your energy so there's not an energy exchange there. That takes a bit more effort, but in the long term, it's better for your self-mastery. It's better for your energetic control. And in the case of a work scenario, it's going to be far more beneficial. Your other option is to do either a daily cord cutting where you try to cut all your cords at the end of your day so you can relax, or a weekly cord cutting so you're cleaning off all the excess cords so you can relax while you're at home, not around the people who piss you off. You're cutting them knowing they're going to reattach once you have to start your work week again, but at the same or the day again, however you want to do it. There was a time when I was doing it daily just because I needed to be detached from that, but I knew I had to do it daily. I knew it, and it didn't feel like a waste of time because the energetic release and the relaxation and the peace of mind I got at the end of the day from it, that was worth it to me. But now if you think you're just going to do a quick cord cutting, sever the connection, and then you can continue to hang out with this person and there's no repercussions, wrong-o. If that's the mentality you go at it with, then you are actually wasting your time there. Does that make sense, Dizzy? So it really depends on how you approach it. They are very useful. They're very handy, but you have to utilize them. And most people teach them as well, just cut the cord and that's the problem solved. But then they still hang around the people and they can't figure out why a cord shows back up. Hope that makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you. No problem. No problem. Happy to help where I can. I don't always have answers, but when I have something, I'll give you what I got. You actually cannot soul travel in sleep, Jacob. So what you would be doing is, at best, an astral projection in sleep. Uber Pudas, is it true Yahweh created the astral and physical realm, or does he just rule over? He doesn't rule over them, and he is not the only one who created them. Yahweh is one of many, many creator gods that all took part in the singular creation. So yeah, it's not like one God has rule over the entire physical and astral realm. That only holds water within a single religious sect where you want to deny the existence of all other beings. And that's not the case. Even Yahweh, when you actually speak with him, don't deny the others. But these other creator gods did take part in the creations. And because of that, you can't discount Yahweh's participation in it. That's the reason you have all these different creation myths, and actually they all bear out being true because all these creator gods did take part in those creations. So hope that helps a little. The show never ends for Drake. That's why I love my job, Luna. I'm a workaholic. Let's be honest. If I retire, I'll go insane. My retirement basically comes when, it ain't coming. You'll put me in a box before I actually retire, people. Are Yahweh and Jehovah the same? Yes. It's different names of the same being. Yes. And actually, Yahweh has many, many names. There's many names of God. And when you, or the Christian God, Jehovah, because when you work within the, especially the Kabbalah, the names of God and the way they're utilized, they actually are resonated and utilized to harness energy and power within that tradition. A perfect example is the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram. There's different names of God used throughout the ritual. Frankie, hey, mugs up to you. Glad you can make it. From the UK, always nice. What do you want to know about it, Nana? I've worked with her a few times, not a super lot. She is actually a goddess that I want to dive into and work with more. So it would depend on exactly what you mean by what about it, Nana. Luna, and endless access to caffeine. Ooh, what would I do with endless access to caffeine? Oh, now there's life for you. I think I found my heaven. Endless access to good, true, traditional barbecue and unending caffeine. Might do some unending rum and scotch in that too. That'd be heaven. Can't wait for that chaotic energy. What? My daughter visiting and bugging the living tar out of me on stream? That will be fun. That should be very much fun. Oh, just wait for both of us in the house with ADHD. This is true. This is true. I almost feel sorry for Sephi because you and I are both random and just all over the board. And my already jumping track and like, I just jumped like 12 rails over and she's like, what? How'd you get here? That already perplexes her. So having to deal with the both of us will be hilarious. Oh, well, that makes it. Yeah, that's true. See you, Oni Chan. Take it easy, mate. Yeah, we got a lot of people from across the pond following the channel, and it's always great to see them. And actually, we got them across the globe. We've got some Australians. I know one person. I won't call you out who you are. I know you're quiet and you sit in the chats usually. You don't really speak up. They're from Japan. They've messaged me several times privately. They're amazingly beautiful people. They've had some wonderful little tidbits to share. Had some great conversations. So I got to say, the viewers for this channel, you guys come from around the world, and so many beautiful minds and hearts, and just curiosity. You guys actually give me hope for this world. You really do. You guys are amazing. Yes, and you are correct about that, Kaylee, as well. So let's say Uber put it. So if dragons are okay with all paths, would they assist someone who is evil and does very dark magic? I'm thinking they'd still want balance even with that. LOL. You want to hit that big deep question there, Pootis? And the answer is yes, they would. And here's why. See, they would assist this person, they would help this person, they would talk with this person, they would advise this person, the same as they do any other practitioner. Now, somebody's like, well, if this person's evil, first off, we have to understand good and evil are in the minds of humanity only. The multiverse does not recognize these two things. Those are moral concepts within humanity specifically. However, for what we refer to as evil, there will also be the uber goody two shoes. Little goody two shoes. Neither of these two people are individually balanced, but their existence of both creates a balance. So when the dragons are working with them and working with them specifically, not only are they advising them, not only are they helping them, but they're also going to work to balance them, thus balancing the entirety of the whole at the same time. They're not just going to let them coast along disbalanced. Does that make sense? Let's see. Big hello from Paraguay. I think that's a new one. Is that Rockio? If I pronounce these wrong, I do apologize. Rockio. Thank you. Mugs up. Just a girl. Japan, you say? Yes, I did say Japan. You do have the answer. Yeah, that's true. The draconic incantation itself actually has light and darkness in it. Luna, you are absolutely correct. Look at you. You paid attention during class. Congratulations, Luna. Actually, Stuart, I do not actually know what you're talking about here. When it comes to that, that is actually probably something I don't want to discuss here. Let me go ahead and remove this just so YouTube don't flag me, but that's okay. That's actually a fair question. But no, I don't actually know much about the actual details of it. And when it comes to Bolg, in the past, it's been a while. I have spoken to a few people involved with Bolg. Some of them I actually relatively admire intellectually. As I've said, so I think some of the videos can they put a little extra cheese on, but it's working and they're sharing information. And I haven't followed any of their work for a while. Occasionally, I will attempt to pick up a book or something because I do get so many questions from students and viewers who want me to do reviews. Can't do it too often. Them books are pricey, but I do try. As far as such a pact, I've not heard anything of that. And the hit piece dealing with the BBC, not heard anything about that. If you will private message me directly on Discord, Stuart, links to what you're talking about, I can look into it and perhaps give you a 2 cents there. But I generally try to steer clear of anything like that, mostly, because there is a lot of people out there who just try to smack talk, and it's hard to tell what's what. Katie, you can't have light without dark, good without bad, etc. Exactly, Katie. See, for a beginner, you're getting that so solidly. Yes. One of my mentors wasn't even a practitioner of magic, actually explained it to me. He's like, if you had your favorite food every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're eventually going to walk into your dinner table, look down, see your favorite meal, and get sick. You're going to hate it. Because if all you have is the very thing you like, you're going to get bored and sick of it. You have to have bad days to enjoy a good day, or you don't know what a good day is. So they do create a very dynamic balance. And if you go and check out the video on the laws of magic, dynamic balance is one of the things that is mentioned and talked about in there. And when we say a dynamic balance, so many people think that balancing out your life is something you sit down, you meditate, you go, oh, you do all these little spiritual things you hear about and you see on the TV, and you achieve balance and you're done. But you're not, because you're balanced at that moment. You're balanced for that day, and you will be unbalanced guaranteed tomorrow or within a few hours, because it's always shifting. Everything's in motion, everything's moving, just like a ship on the sea. If you've ever studied anything to deal with sailing and rigging, you've constantly got to be manning the lines and the sails and steering the boat. It's a constant thing you got to do. And balance is the same way. It's always changing and shifting. It's dynamic. So we're always working to maintain that balance. So yes, and it's a pretty cool thing, really, when you think about it. Thank you, Stuart, because I don't really want to comment or say anything on anything I don't know. I don't want to speak out of line or out of place to another practitioner or streamer or anything like that. I try to go with data only. Y'all know that. Well, that explains it. Yeah, that really does. See, chicken noodle, what spell or ritual do you recommend to stop people trying to manifest you? I realize that out of nowhere, I would think of these people, and I'm like, maybe I should call them, but I don't really want to. Uh, Honestly, a simple banishing can clear the energy around you. In fact, I don't know if you've done it, but if you use the Dragon's Flame ritual, which is on the channel, it clears out energy around you when you do it. And if you focus it on clearing out energy of people trying to get in your energy body, it'll clear that right there out, just like that. Boom. Easy peasy way to do it. You could also easily do a black candle banishing ritual to do the same thing. Because if the person's name is popping in your mind, you know exactly who it is, so you can easily banish any of their energetic workings against you. Um, this is one of those things where shielding does come in handy. You want to work on your shielding, because even if you banish the spell and ritual, that's not saying they won't do another one. So this is why grounding and shielding should be a part of your daily practice. I ground and shield 2 or 3 times throughout the day, especially during my morning and evening meditation ritual practices. So you can also work on setting up wards and stuff around your house, which is another viable option. But yeah, it's one of those dynamic things. It's going to be active. I know what you mean. I have a particular nuisance or splinter in my side that has been trying to weasel and connive their way back into my life. Will never happen. So if you do ever see this and you know who you are, screw you. But I also know that when those thoughts and memories or whatever pop up, I know what it is, and I quickly banish it and get rid of it. And I actually feel good about it, because it's one of those things. It's like, they tried, they failed, and I continue on because of self mastery. How do you, man, Davy, that's a big one, and that is a hard one. I wish there was a magic key to that one. I do. Unfortunately, the best way to improve meditation practice is self discipline. You got to make yourself do it. You have to set a schedule and you have to make yourself do it. It's like working out. Um, and in some ways, some people find working out easier. I found starting a workout regime harder. I used to love working out. I used to work out all the time. Me and my wife was actually talking about my metabolism back when I was younger. But I'm actually trying to get into a new workout routine, and that's been really difficult. And I keep thinking, I keep telling you all when you all ask about a meditation routine and how you just got to set that time aside and you got to do it. You got to make yourself do it. And I'm trying to listen to my own speech when it comes to working out because it's really the same thing. You have to build that habit by just making yourself do it. And somebody's like, well, if you do something for 7 days in a row, you build a habit. With working out and meditation, I can work out 12 days in a row and I still don't have a habit. So it's a tricky one. It's a hard one, and we all struggle with it for different reasons. Sometimes our schedules are busy, so finding that time of day where you can do it can be hard. So sometimes you have to set a goal of meditating once or twice a day and build that habit as opposed to a specific time, which a lot of my students do that. They know they can't necessarily set a specific time just because of how chaotic their day is. So they will set a goal for meditating once or twice a day. And many of my students will actually make one of those times their lunch break at work or even their 15-minute break at work. They'll take and set an alarm for 10 minutes. They'll sit down, do a 10-minute meditation, take a 5-minute time to grab a drink or something and head back. And oftentimes, especially in the busy world that we're in, it's easier to set a number of times to meditate a day than it is specific times because a lot of us ain't got that luxury of having that same time every day available to us. And believe you me, it is hard. It is hard, 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 hard. And myself and many other metaphysical teachers are trying to find that magic bullet to make it easier. So far, we haven't. I wish, I tell you what, Davey, when I find it, I will let you know. But so far, I have not found it. But I hope that does help you a little. And do understand, we all struggle with it. You're not alone in this struggle. We all struggle with it. All of us. Even me, when I get really crazy busy and I miss a few days of ritual or meditation, I actually find it a little hard to get back in the rhythm. Now, grant you, if I get back in the rhythm for 4 or 5 days, I'm back in because I've already had that rhythm. But those first 4 or 5 days getting back in the rhythm gets a little rough on me. And I told you flat out when it comes to getting back into a workout rhythm, but I can't say I've been successful yet. I am not successful. I am struggling, but I ain't giving up. I'm still going to keep hitting it hard. I will build that habit back up to where I had it. And hopefully you all will see the change in my chubby little cheeks here, just because I do plan to get back in shape. Practice, practice, practice. And more. Yeah, it's sad. I wish I had a better answer for that one. I really do. I always feel bad answering that question because people pop up when they ask that question, especially in person. They got this smile that's like, he's got it. He knows what he knows. And then I tell them the truth and they're like, you're supposed to have the answer, but they didn't like my answer. Yeah, Luna, I'm kind of with that. I don't really believe in the 21 days to build a habit too much. It just doesn't seem to work all that well for me. For some, it might work. It doesn't seem to work that well for me. I looked at my journals, and if I don't do something for like 60 days to where it becomes a normal part of my daily routine, I don't know. I am a creature of habit, and it takes a lot. But once I get a habit built, I'm solid. It's just getting me to do it. It takes a lot longer than 7 or 21 days or any of that. Leah, when you talk about starting a path, how do you work through those paths? Do you have certain activities you do with each? That's a loaded question. If you're talking about path working, like working through a path, a lot of the ones that I've worked through over the years were pre-constructed. So I'll get a book or something where they actually walk you through it. And I will work through it as laid out and detailed at the pacing they do. And I follow along with their instructions and work through it. So, for example, if you all look below any of my videos, you'll see I link to Christopher Pencak's Temple of Witchcraft books. I find the amount of information, variety of information, history, and lore that he's compiled within his 4 books to be a tremendous starting point for any practitioner. True, it does approach magic from more of a witchcraft or Wicca perspective, but the information is still a good solid foundation to build on. I would view each of those books as a solid path working, and I would work through them as they're specifically laid out. And I did work through them as they're specifically laid out. And Oni-chan, back to your shaman question, actually, his book of shamanic witchcraft is a great one for that, now that I think about it. But I would actually work through all the activities, take the time he puts through there, and that's what I would do when it comes to working a path working. The same thing with the Cliff Author path working I'm doing. I'm working through it exactly as the author has laid out in her books. Now, there are times where I will sit down and set up a path working, work with an entity, and get the details of it. Personally, for a path working that's not been pre-written, grant you that's a bit more of an advanced path working because you got to do all the groundwork yourself, which is what I'm doing with this Fae path working. Many of you know last year I gathered much of this information from the Winter Court in order to begin working through this path working this year. And again, I go through all the steps that was laid out, and it does take some time. But every one of them is going to be a little bit different in how you approach it. But generally speaking, it's when people use it in the modern term, they're talking about working all the way through a specific process, ritual, or book that's laid out. You'll see them, a lot of Norse books are laid out the same way. But it also, the term is also utilized to talk about path working the tree of life. So in Kabbalic studies, the tree of life is broke up into the different spheres, and the spheres are connected to the different pathways. The spheres have a meaning, the pathway has a meaning, and you would work through the sphere, you'd complete the sphere, and then you'd actually have to work through the lesson of the pathway that leads to the next sphere, and you'd have to complete that before you made it to the next sphere. Then you'd have to work through that sphere and the next pathway of that. And all these lessons and wisdoms are going to be building as you path work the tree of life, which I have done. So time and everything, it's different for different people because we all have different lessons and we have to spend different amounts of time in different places to learn those lessons. Hope that answers your question somewhat. Davey, sometimes get frustrated when I can't quiet my mind when I do find the time to work in the progress. Do you try to take a few minutes? Honestly, Davey, here's what I would do. And this is actually something I cover in my meditation course over at the school. If you haven't, consider checking it out because one of the things is I know a lot of people who can't quiet their mind. And that's their biggest obstacle to meditation. Funny thing is, no one said you had to quiet your mind for meditation. In fact, just the opposite. Active meditation, where your brain is actually engaged, actively doing something, and you're moving through something actively during the meditation, not just trying to quiet your mind and clear it, is a viable option, and you can still find it very relaxing when you come out of the meditation. Movement meditation is actually one of my favorite ones. I utilize it a lot when I'm cleaning, because it's a great way to meditate. It's a great way to get in my meditation time to contemplate something. And B, since I'm in a meditative state while I'm moving around doing dishes or cleaning the house, I'm not focused on cleaning the house, and I hate cleaning. So I get to ignore something I don't like while I accomplish something I do want to do. So if you are interested, do check out the meditation course. It's a massive course, and we do put a lot of emphasis on some of the more active meditations. We do have passive meditation. We cover passive meditation. We cover active meditation. We cover movement meditation, and we do cover guided meditations as well. It really covers a lot, and I think you'd get a lot out of that, especially if you're one of the people like me who has trouble shutting their brain up because your brain's always going to be really helpful. Let's say, does burying a sigil work as good as burning it? Depends on what you're wanting it for. Totally depends on what you're wanting. If you're wanting the energy to stay around or you're trying to bury it, it depends on the symbology of it. Think about what the symbology of what you're doing and what the purpose of the sigil and the working is, and why are you burying it? Because if you're burying it on your property to keep it and draw things to your property, that's a great way to do it. Nothing wrong with that at all. But again, if you're trying to get rid of something and you're burying it on your property, that's not really a great way to get rid of it. Seriously, every horror movie we've ever saw on how did they catch the killer, we found out they buried some crap on their property, didn't they? So think through the symbolism. Because that's what a lot of this is. It's symbolism that your subconscious is tapping in to help direct and attract or banish these energies. Shelby, hey, yeah, you are late. We're getting ready to wrap up here. But welcome. Mugs up to you, Shelby. All right, peeps, I got a meeting I got to get to. I apologize. It was wonderful to get to chat and answer so many great questions tonight. And have a cup of coffee and a few good laughs with y'all. Hopefully Friday, I'll have someone here annoying me and helping answer questions. We will see. Y'all have a great week. This week's video coming out is actually going to be another one added to the Goetic Spirit list. So yay. I know a lot of people's been itching for that next Goetic Spirit. It is coming. It's actually going to be Tuesday. We do have some projects. Like I said, we are working on many things. We're trying to get everything out to you as quick as we can. Stick with us. And I will let you all know more about the art contest for this year when I can. Hopefully within the next week or two, I'll know something. And as far as the emojis, Luna, I will make sure to make an announcement about the emojis and how I want to handle that and see what we can do about getting some fan art emojis up in the Discord server hopefully this week. Luna, if I forget, message me, remind me, and I'll do that, okay? Other than that, everyone, you have a fantastic week. Keep up the work. I know magic can be work. It can be work, but it is very much worth it. And all of you are proof of that because you guys messaged me with all the magnificent changes in your life and the manifestations that just this little free channel has brought to you. And that is amazing. That makes all this worth it. So you all keep up that great work. And I'll see you all next Friday, all right? Take care. Good night.